So I'll say good evening because it's evening here in the UK. Happy Friday. Good afternoon to you, Naomi, and to those around the world. This is the Ladies Go Live. I'm joined by the beautiful Naomi, who is based in the US, and we're here to talk about your well-being and the professional career, particularly in relation to building a brand, which is building your business, building a personal brand, building a professional brand, whichever it is, and how your well-being is fundamental. So, Naomi, thank you so much for joining. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Liz. I miss tea time, like when I visited England, like the tea time.
Oh yeah, afternoon tea. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I'm so glad and I feel blessed that you're doing such an important work and empower women and people. It's so important, nowadays specifically, right? More than ever before.
Yeah, I say if the last 12 months have taught us anything, is that our health is the most important thing we have. And without it, even if it gets put to the test under a virus, if we care for our health, we're in a much better state. So obviously I'm saying about how amazing and fabulous and you're utterly divine and completely, because I've had a little nose into your background. Tell us more about who is Naomi and what does Naomi do?
Oh, wow. So first of all, I must say Naomi loves human being. Let's start with that. I really believe that on the day you were born, God decided that the world cannot exist without you, right? So I'm like so obsessed to make his kingdom more beautiful and make sure that you do your mission and create your fingerprint in this world because as I said, you came here for something bigger than just live your day-to-day life. We are here, right? So we are here to serve. So our passion is to help take those, the entrepreneur uniquely, mainly, and turn them into their legacy, build with them, fulfill their potential. And the way we decided to do it is actually do with them and create with them their tangible marketing. So we create with them videos and launching book with them and certify them as an NLP coach. And we do everything in our possibility so they shine the light because we want to be part of the ripple effect. We want to feel, there's so many people in the world. We cannot touch all of them, right? But if I touch the people who needed me the most and they touch the people who need the most, right? So the thing nowadays is we are so blend. Like when a person say, "Oh, I have a hair in my."
This is live.
right. So the thing is when people ask you, what do you do, for example, and every other person say, I'm a coach, for example, or I'm a health coach, or I'm a marriage relationship coach, or whatever, it's so blend, it sounds like million others. So we are obsessed to really, we so believe, imagine when you go in the airport, right, that you put your fingerprint and no one in the world has the same fingerprint like you, right? So when you remember that, you must tap into your unique soul purpose and find what is it that you, out of all the people in the world, make you, right? So for us, that's what we work with you is we really work and make sure that we know deep from your soul and what is your strength, what is your gift, what is your mission, unique mission, and then we make sure to shine it out on those videos and make sure that the way you convey the message, right, the way you convey the message is so unique to you and talk to the heart and soul of your perfect ideal client, of course.
Yeah, I mean that's because you've hit it. No one else is you, so that's why people work with you. It's that simple.
So true. It's and we are especially nowadays we understand we are a global world. I mean, you talk about health, right? Epidemic. Now it's not just me and my family and me. No, now you see the whole world is one global world, and we have responsibility, right? We have a bigger responsibility. We cannot just live our life and make sure I'm staying healthy, we have to impact and influence other people too. It's like, for me, it's like that's why we are here on Earth, right? So, and if the epidemic doesn't give you a hint, what else,
You just hit the nail on the head. It's not just you, but it's everyone else. I mean, I'll give you my fun fact I learned recently, that you originated in an egg from your grandmother. And you just sit there going, actually, that just shows it's a case of, particularly women, our health is not just affects us. It's not just our children. It's our children's children. That's how far these things can sort of go.
You know what? That's 100% true. Like I have one of my students, she's from Australia and she's amazing. She swims the ocean every day, and she's like, I think, she's like 60s or something. She's amazing. But anyway, she does family constellation, and she talks about it, right? Like she's like, she brings the ancient wisdom, and she said like we are thankful for our ancestor, right? What we live today is thanks to what they put, their effort they put. So now we are responsible to put our effort, so our next generation will have easier, better life, right? So it's as you said, it's not just now too, right? It's like being healthy and in all aspects, right? It's mind, body, spirit, right? All of that, it's going to go for generation to generation.
Yeah, indeed. So let's pull back to you and your personal experience of well-being. How has caring for your well-being impacted directly onto your profession and your career?
So you see that I'm like, believe that a lot in God and everything is related for me. So if God created us, our soul in our body, I mean, what, right? Like that's a big a sign for you that you have to take care of your temple, the temple of your soul, right? If you want to be happy, you need to be healthy, right? Mm-hmm. Healthy is like, like sometimes when we do the values, right? When we do the values, and I ask the student, so when they said health, I said health is for sure number one, right? It's you cannot do anything if you don't have the health, right? So health is number one, of course. And the thing is that we are pre-programmed, right? So like in the sense, right, we understand that health is the most important thing, right? Because if you don't have the health, I'm not talking just health physically, also mentally, right? If we don't have this health, how can I operate and serve my mission? So, right? So like it's must. But the problem is that we are so pre-programmed to take things for granted that we forget. And we live the moment many times, and we forget that what I eat today, right, impact what my body tomorrow and my, well-being, right? How do I take care of my body? How do I exercise? How do I take care of my mental? All of the things. If you live at the moment, like Passover and Easter was not recently, right? And I said, when you talk about like for Passover or Easter, you talk about liberation, right? Like we're liberated from slavery and I asked my group, I said, let me ask you something. Is real liberation is to do what I want to do whenever I want to do, and impulsively, whenever I want to eat something, I'll just go and grab whatever I feel like. Is that real liberation, or that's actually a prison? Right? Because real liberation is that you do have control on what you feed yourself, your mind, body, and right, and soul. That's real liberation. Not that you are like trapped in whatever attract you at that moment, right, or distract you. So that's a real liberation.
Or whichever, yeah. The big one is the thing. The big one's craving, because people give things up for Lent, and they go, I'm going to give this up. This is going to be so hard. And sometimes you hear them go, oh my God, this is so hard. And they're going, really? Or is that your mind telling you it's hard? Exactly. Your body doesn't want it most of the time. It's your mind telling you.
Yeah, we are trapped in this habitual, right? We are trapped. We are like a habitual machine and very triggered, right? Like we were purposely created triggered. So, in Kabbalah, they say, because you are triggered, right? You are triggered. How you react, right? How do you pause before you react? How do you proactive, right? So if I see this chocolate, can I talk to myself first, right? Can I, right? Like, so all those things is like being in charge of what is it that I really choose to do, right? Like in every moment, right? Rather than be just a reactive machine. You know what it remind me, Liz? It remind me when I was like a teenager, and I babysit and stuff, and they left and they put this yummy chocolate in front of me. And I said, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it because if I'll touch it, I will know that I will finish it, right? So I didn't touch for 1 hour or two, but then it took longer. Eventually I touched it and I was so embarrassed when when it was empty, right? Like so I was like so that's the thing is like, right? How much control, right? How much control do I choose and how much control I just let think like whatever is like pre-programmed in me or my habitual, how much in that I let do it on me, kind of like, you know what I mean?
It's if you look at the Pringle strapline, once you pop, you can't stop. But it's that idea, if you open a big bar of chocolate, you're more likely to eat it. If you sit there going, if I have just a bit of cake, I want more cake. And that's the thing. You then convince yourself, your mind goes, oh, I like this. I want some more of this. But actually, you don't. You just kind of go, that tastes good. And it's sat right in front of me.
Right. So don't put yourself under the willpower experience, right? Like don't, keep like yourself like in plan in advance. What do you put in front of you, right? Because you understand that you are triggered. You understand that, right? And also, especially if it's like these links that you have about like food is a comforting or something, knowing that, don't try to fight with it, like putting it in your face. Make it first easier by like not having it in front of you, So sometimes, but because sometimes people say, I'll buy, but I will not eat, or, they put themselves under too much temptation.
Oh, yes. That's why it's safer than when they say, if I don't buy it, I don't eat it.
Exactly. And the NLP that I train and certify people to become NLP coaches and stuff, that's all about mindset, like because, right? So like we have those cute tricks that are really fascinating, right? So like we have like this process that we call it like to dislike, right? So like you have certain picture of something you really like let's say people who munching on M&M all day or something, and we can elicit this feature and replace those features to a picture that we elicit that something that you dislike. Okay, so for example, if you dislike, I don't know, some people dislike sardines. Okay, so right. Okay, so what happened in the end of the process? Just because you kind of change the feature they have about what they like in the brain, in the mind, they don't need to constantly fight about it. Now they have a new internal representation about it. So I love those tricks because sometimes it's hard to break an habit, right? Just like by affirmation or something. So definitely I love those tricks.
Yeah, I love the behavioral ones. It's exactly those tricks that is how I gave up smoking years and years ago.
Oh,
but that's another story.
That's beautiful. I love it. Why not? If it can help you do things faster, why not?
But if we obviously, because we're talking about mindset here and realistically how the mind works, the mind is the most powerful tool we have. Our body is the vessel. So our body will give up before our mind does. And so with that, we need to care for our mental well-being. So how do you think caring for your mental well-being, I mean, other than the obvious of a good mindset works for business, but when we take that into obviously how we perform and obviously how we deliver our brand. So if you take somebody who's got this brand and they want to talk about it, how does their mental well-being affect that?
Yeah, so definitely, as you know, there's a lot of fear, and people have fear of camera, right? What people would say about me, right? What people would say, what if I fail? Nobody would care about me. Those self-talk that you constantly say to yourself. There is a saying, where your thoughts are, that's where your results, right? Because like your thought, your self-talk, all the things impact. And I believe in like mind, body, spirit, and the brand, talking about brand. What is the likelihood that people who watch you, right, they will listen to you if they feel that you don't take a good care of yourself, right? If right, you are a model for those people, right? You have this responsibility to model, right? And I think everything is about make it about them, not you, right? So if you make it about them and you need to serve and you are responsible, you need to come with your full energy, full health, full thing, because you have responsibility to give them the best service. So we cannot like, bend on our well-being and our mental nurturing and what do we feed ourselves. And of course it's a battle. That's why people keep having people probably like you that keep them accountable, right? Keep them accountable.
What we do.
Right? So a person needs to do everything in his might, and I believe it's like almost like I look at it like a sin not to take care of whatever precious body you got, mind that you got. You have to constantly nurture it and make sure that you can serve and you can deliver the best always, right? So like my student always say, oh Naomi, you're so energetic all the time. You walk with enthusiasm and you're all so fun. Like imagine how happy it makes them feel, right?
Yeah.
That I'm fully engaged, right? For them, it's like it's imagine like I would come and I'm like, just can't wait for the right. No, no, we have to be very responsible. Yeah.
Energy is contagious. So
Yes, energy contagious, and also for me, so the way I look at it is like client, she said, "Okay, you are always with such an enthusiasm." I said, "Did you know that the Latin word, the original of enthusiasm, it's with God?" So for me, I know there are many people out there that not necessarily believe, right? But for me, I have this responsibility for my Creator, right? So like in the morning, the first thing I say, and it's a Jewish thing too, is the first thing I say, thank you, God, for giving me the day, and thank you for believing in me. Otherwise, you could just say, Naomi, that's it. You did enough in this world or something, right? So I think when you set your mind in advance like that and say, oh my gosh, it's not just like uh, you know, pamper myself with something, right? And live casually. No, you have like a big mission, right? You have a big purpose and mission. I think that's also empower you to start to pay attention. What do I eat? To pay attention. What kind of fitness do I do? What kind of news do I listen to the news constantly and get into this fear? What do I do? What do I feed my mind, right? Right, we have like gates. That's our gates, our ears, our eyes, right, our mouth, right? Like we have to protect those gates, right, and like filter what we allow in.
yeah. Your brain's your body. You need food for that as well. But
Yeah.
the one thing that always gets me as well is people go, okay, I can do this for my brand. I can do this for my business because you spend the time investing in it. So you'll have, for example, I can go, I will spend all day Friday and I'll get this done. And then the minute it comes to that presentation, it doesn't, what's on the screen, what's on the paper is written, but what you're delivering is that moment. If you've just spent all day on a Friday and all weekend preparing for this Monday morning meeting, you're tired, exhausted, and all this, you're going to go into that meeting and be like, oh yeah. And of course, what you're going to deliver, instead of being up here, is going to be down here.
Totally.
And
yeah. And what you said, Liz, also is like that's another mistaken myth. People say, okay, I'm having fun. I'll just go live and talk to people. Listen, people have time, they are busy too. You need to be considerate of what you deliver. Talking about branding, right? So some people will just shoot, right? No, it has to be around, first of all, what is it that you serve? What kind of message is important for you to bring to the world? Prepare yourself a little bit, like think about what is my client wants to hear and understand that there's different way of people perceive and process information. So make sure when you deliver, you don't talk just to yourself. You talk to those people who process and perceive information differently. For example, some people, they want the what? They want to know the data. Like, based on what do you say those things? Based on what data? Like, show me numbers, right? Like Harvard, or like show me numbers of survey or something. Some people, they won't even listen to you if you won't tell them why is that even important for them, right? They won't even listen to you. So, and some people, the only way they can learn is just like if you give them some like little steps, for example. So like there's so many aspects to it. And I believe if you really care about your brand, It's what you model, and also how much you are willing to put and invest in your client. So it's not just like, it's not one way, right? Like you have to like really be there, give them value, and be considerate all the time and respectful, and come prepared. So I truly believe in that. And I think that many people has these mistakes that like this, they like come live and like they don't think in advance, they don't prepare. And then people probably, many people won't watch, right? And it won't convert and it won't engage. So always have to make sure that you really give 100%.
Which is why when we were preparing for this, I have a few questions I pre-script.
That's great. I'm so lucky.
But again, it's the end of the thing, because people say to me, I've talked about podcasts to people and things like this, and I know people just get on and have a conversation. They're doing amazingly. And when I first started, I was a complete script. I was sat here with a piece of paper going, yeah, and reading sort of questions. Okay, there was a bit of a lead to it. But I just what I do is now is I go, let's write a few pre-ones, because then you've got something. But let's let the conversation roll. And in fact, most of the questions I write, I then remember. I remember because I remember my guest. And then it becomes much more personal, because what I've written and what I want to ask you is all about you and what you do and what you know about, and, those sorts of things.
That's beautiful.
And that's what people forget. That's what makes it personal. That's what makes you unique. And those are the things you need to work on. You might not get it right. I don't, but you realize, actually, this works. This is me. This is unique.
You must have this unique thing in that. Like you have to connect. And as you said, like you have an intention for the conversation to serve your people who are listening to you. And I admire you for that.
Well, let's say hello to Barbara. She said hello to us.
Hi, Barbara. Yeah.
One of my regulars who's always listening. She's an absolute diamond. So it's lovely to have you listening. And of course, if you have any questions for Naomi, do ping them over, because I've got her company probably about another 15 minutes or so. So I love talking. I love doing this, because obviously I work in a people industry. And working in fitness, the one thing I was talking, I've hired a trainer myself, because I'm about to have a nose operation, so I need somebody with me. And I was talking to him. I said, the reason I'm hiring you is you're the person who said hi to me. You might not be the best trainer in this gym for me or what I need, but you're the person I've got the relationship with. And I'm hiring you because I want to give you my money, because I feel safe with you and I feel confident with you. And people underestimate that. That's what builds business.
And nowadays, especially, it's all about relationship, because we think about it, Liz, like now look at the epidemic. We have so much hardship on trusting issue, right? We don't know even like, is that true? Like this news, is that true? Is that true? Like you don't know who to trust anymore. So people, it has to have the relationship is a trustable relationship, right? It's the base for any relationship. It's the base for any branding and converting and engaging. So like nowadays, the business, specifically for entrepreneurship, the business is you. You. It's not like just the product that you do. It's you who behind the product, right? Who behind the service.
So you can choose whatever name you want, but it's you people buy into.
Totally.
That's
100%.
So we're going to hit on, because you just obviously mentioned about the pandemic and of course things changing. Of course, the last 12 months have been, or just over, have been a roller coaster, let's say. We've seen it. We've seen things open, we've seen things closed. We've seen deaths. We've seen, loved ones. We've not seen loved ones. We've seen everything that we thought probably we never would. Now, that impact on our mental well-being as well as our business has been huge. What impact do you obviously think it's obviously having now? And what do you see the future as?
Yeah, I think the challenge is that the side effect, in the sense that there is creating a lot of fear. I think the panicking and the fear really impact the person mentally, right? And like the idea is to be resourceful in any situation. And if you believe that in something bigger than you, then I think, you have this faith and hope, and you still adjust, and you would still deliver despite the challenge. So for example, like we also have a business of jewelry, right? And imagine all the craft show, all the exhibition finished, right? Like they ended it as soon as there was the epidemic, right? So imagine how fast a person need to modify and write and adjust. And I think it's very important to be, no matter what you hear and see, to be very resourceful. First of all, limit what you feed yourself. Limit, like it's enough to watch maybe, let me tell you, I don't watch the news much at all, right? And then what happened, people tell you the news anyway, right? They text it to you. So you don't need to watch the news, right? They will,
right? The funniest, I got sent the only news headline I've been sent in this week, and this will make you laugh. Channing Tatum said he needs to get better at acting so he doesn't have to be naked in every movie he's in.
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah.
I said to my friend, I said, I'm going to cry. Come on. But this is the fun thing, because I'm exactly that. I don't really watch the news. Occasionally I'll watch the headlines, or I flick on and I'll read a few headlines and then I get off. It's kind of like, because one, I've noticed there's not much in the news, but either elections or COVID or lockdown or something, and there's so much negatives, or some death, some death of something, someone's gone missing, and I'm like, yeah, there's rarely like those, we used to have some bits of joy coming through, and I was like, that can actually, just reading that negativity can really impact your mental well-being.
And you know what? The funnier thing is, I suggested, what if the news would be 99% negative and only 1% just update you to be careful from this guy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know what people told me? That then no one will watch the news. So you see, people are addicted sometimes to this, I don't know, this negativity, and they forget that our default is to go to negativity, right? Like if your default is to go to doubt yourself, and like what would people say, right? We are pre-programmed like that because we always try to please, whoever raised us, right? And like if you think about the tribes, right? If you would be boycott if you were not blend like everyone else. And I think that's also a big challenge for people. On one end, they want to blend because they think that's how they would be accepted. But I want to congratulate that now and more people has awareness that it's like standing out and have your own fingerprint. And it's safe, and they need to understand, and work on their mind to understand that it is safe. Right, but didn't we don't people were bullied just because they were different when they grew up, right? So now they're growing up and they say, oh, I better be like everyone else, right? And some of the reason people are like tune into the news, they want to feel like I know what's going on, like when people talk, I'm not stupid or I'm not this, right? So I would say control what you feed yourself, what you expose yourself. I don't say like live in the blind. But let me tell you, even if you don't listen to the news, people will text you and they will ask you, are you safe? I heard there is fire in California, right? They would update you with the news anyway, right? So it's not like you're totally outsider. You're still gonna be fed a little bit, but truly, like, really, really precious your time on earth, and precious the time that you serve, and precious your body, the temple of your soul. Precious your soul and your mind. So for sure.
Hello. Just do that and live the perfect life.
Yes. So easy, right?
And that's where the problem is, because, we just said it. In fact, that's just my favorite saying. People are just watching the news because they get saturated. The sense of belonging, the sense of wanting to know, the sense of kind of going, well, it can't be that bad, kind of like they said, that negativity, they want the more. And it's kind of like the level of comfort in it because, it's sort of just there. It's not spot, I mean, it's also not happening directly to them, you know, most of the times, because if it's something like, for example, if I came up to you and, you know, hugged you, you'd have a strong reaction. Same as if I came up and slapped you, you'd have a strong reaction. If you read on the news or whatever, somebody's been hugged and didn't want it, or, you know, whatever, then you suddenly don't, you get a bit irate, but the feelings are very different. You're a bit more detached.
Yeah, yeah. And people, you know, it's like that's the trust also issue comes in. Is like we don't know how much of the thing that we are fed are true. So the thing is, and you know, like, so people are frantic, you know. So like, imagine like it's almost like you are continually programmed by the media and things like that, and you start to, you can be like easily paranoid. You know, I cannot touch now people, right? I have to isolate myself, you know, stop the social thing, you know, have just like through like, thanks God for Zoom and other platform, but like everything is like, you know, now Clubhouse, for example, you don't even see the person, right? So it's become less and less, right? Less and less connected, you know, it's only by, so that's also what you do is precious because you connect people together again. But like passive listen to news or passive listening to, you know, the bombard of fear. You know, I don't see how it serves people, you know. So like I have one student, like he used to say, oh, it is so sad. Oh, it is so sad. So I started to ask him, let me ask you something. Is there, what if you ask yourself instead, is there anything I can do to make it less sad or something? Is there anything I can do to, right, to make the world a better place kind of thing, right? Because if you are stuck only about like, oh, it's horrifying, oh, it's sad, oh, it's, then what, you are passive, right? What if you really know, kind of tap into what is it that I can still do a change? I don't say change the whole world, but change the few thing that you can do and help your community or the world, but like based on something that you can do it happily, and it can be your own business around your passion. I like when we work with them, our client and our entrepreneur, it's about monetize their passion, because what happen is they go to, for example, some people go to work and they hate their work, right? So how bare is for their body and everything, they just go and they burned out, right? They don't really do what they meant to do, right? Many times they are doing even roles that don't even match them and don't match their soul, right? So I was said it. So like when you think about said, I always say, okay, that's the case. Okay, what is in your unique candle inside, or your unique spark inside? What kind of thing you can help society, right? Society with. And I think if you put your focus there, you feel that you do something for humanity. And talking about confidence, right? That's the way to build confidence, by doing, not by just talking. Doing. Go and serve. I don't say all the world. Serve the clients that are, you know, that it's your passion to help them with something specific. Because if it was implanted in you, this passion, you know, then God must believe that you can do it. So for me, I think that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, I would obviously say the one person you serve before anyone else is yourself, because when you are, I say, when your cup's full, you have more to give. When you are running on depleted, it's the same as what we were just saying. You know, you go into a presentation, you give a bad presentation, you know, you haven't got anything to give. And that's what people get wrong, is they kind of joke, they either do one of two ways. They don't ignore everyone else, so they kind of, you know, think it's me, and actually you don't get very far just by doing that. Or they give so much that they forget to check in and go, oh, how am I doing? How's
Yeah,
my...
they're not right. They're not lazy. I think I can give forever because I love giving, but like I'm laser focused on what I give, right? So I think if you're laser focused on what you give, then it's you're in your element, right? So like some people can like forever cook and they would love to feed people, and right, like that's for them. It's in their element. They are in flow, no problem, right? They can forever give, right? some people like Mother Teresa, right? She could serve the poverty and help them forever, right? So like,
Yeah.
I really believe when we say give, I really believe we are here to give. And the way you give, that's the thing, is like even Oprah Winfrey, she could give to the whole world, right? And like, right, but she even lasered and decide what is the most important thing, like my personal mission, that I would put my effort mainly there. So I really think that's another myth, is like, okay, I want to give to everyone, I want to save this sick person, I want to feed the homeless, I want this, I want this. Then what you do is you do nothing, and then you're exhausted. But what if you really decide, okay, I'm not going to expect, I'm still a human being, I'm not expecting myself to like all hocus pocus abracadabra and everybody that, what if I focus on something that is really my strength, right? What if I focus on that, and with that I can forever give, because it's part of me. It's not a burden, it's a soul feeding. So yeah, it's a very tricky, the word give, because some people they feel, oh, I should receive too. But let me tell you, when you give, you receive. Just the giving is a receiving, okay, in my opinion. But I think they are exhausted because they don't they run away from themselves. You know why they are exhausted? They run away from themselves. So what and I'll explain, right? They will always come with excuses, right? Of why they don't deliver, of why they don't progress, of why they don't, right? They will always come. And the reason they come with those excuses, in my opinion, is they run away from the self, they run away from the real mission. So they would come with all the things why they cannot serve, why they cannot do that. But what if you really focus on, like, how can I serve? How can I give? And now understand that in order to give, you need to also take good care of yourself. So then, right, like yesterday, I had a conversation about it yesterday. She said, oh, if I only had the cleaning lady, oh, if I only had this, if I only that. I said, you know what? You just run away from yourself. You just run. You find all the excuses why you cannot deliver something.
Yeah.
That's it, so like it's very important, and we all have the tendency. So like that's why some people just watch the news passively, because it's like they run away from themselves.
Yeah. It's like the avoidance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like addiction, right? What is addiction, right? You kind of like, or compulsive eating, or right, like everything that is like addiction, it's you kind of run away from yourself. And I think it's all interlinked to the fact that you really need to kind of like, when you talk about give, we can call it, instead of receive, we can call it give to yourself, so you can be stronger and you can help more people. So like, with many women, especially mentions the good heart soul one. That's what I call like my tribes. They have hard time sometimes to charge, right? They have like this guilt feeling charge, right? Like, and I had this for a while, because like my father and my family, it's like always give, give, give. And give means for free. So I had to resolve this conflict. And what you realize is the money that you get, the income that you get, it allows you to give even more, right? I think maybe they feel guilty because they think like it's greedy to want it. But like, what if you just look at it as something that helps you to feed yourself well, so you can stand and be there fully to your client, and also help more people?
It's like a cycle.
Right, exactly. So talking about giving, for me, I don't look at it as receiving. I look at it as I give, but I also know to give to and nurture myself, so I can serve better too.
And of course, you hit on their fact, women. So if we let's look at gender differences. Might hit a nerve, but there is obviously, we always talk about the gender discussion and all this, and of course women naturally have different qualities. Do you think they need more confidence with it going, say if we would talk about online presentations, videos, being in front of camera? Do you think women struggle more with confidence in themselves and doing it than men?
I think also men learn to hide a lot of their emotion. So because they were like bullied if you were vulnerable. So I see, like in my class, I used to like serve only women, mainly, women empowerment. But then I got like some requests for men to study with me, and I noticed they, it's getting better. They become more vulnerable and more, right? They're more open about their emotion and stuff, and then they admit. So it might be that some of the, that they hid, like the women didn't learn to hid their emotion, and the men maybe learn to it, but it doesn't mean that they are not frantic inside. Maybe they learn a little bit because of that to pretend, and just pretending and doing despite the fear, right? Because you need to look strong and stuff. Maybe that makes them, right, naturally build their confidence more, right?
Yeah.
But I think women in general, they are pleaser. They want to please. They care, right? It's probably come from overly caring and naturally, and also there is a lot of pressure on how you look and how you, right, and like, right, there's a lot of pressure on the look also, uh, and also they want to break the presuppose that, like, if you're beautiful then you're not smart, and all those like links that they were confused, and like what we learned when we grew up, and Cinderella was married a rich guy and they lived happily ever after, right? So there is a lot of internal conflict from the time we were little that we were fed.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's why, like, what do they put the pressure on? Maybe they put the pressure more on like how they look, maybe. And now they find themselves, okay, what I'm gonna say, right? Like, who am I to say it, right? Like, why would anyone listen to me, right? So yeah, it's like deep. It's like deep think, and talking about it is like pre-programmed, right? From generation to generation, many times. But I think women nowadays kind of breaking it. And the thing is, I think there's a lot of still confusion. And I think eventually women more and more will be in charge of kind of like what is their, like, pay attention to their value and not be submissive to other people's value. They will start more legitimate their value. I think would happen, so like there is the extreme first, right? Like, for example, if you think about Me Too, they take it
Yeah.
to extreme, right? Like a little bit, okay, I was there, I was a victim, and I think eventually they learn, okay, I can be not a victim. It's not like anyone can come and do whatever he wants just because I'm pretty and stuff. Like, okay, how do I protect myself? How do I, it doesn't legitimate the man to do anything, but you can also like be responsible in the sense of, where do I put myself? Where do I expose myself? Right? I'm still responsible on my life, right? It's just like, I won't go out certain late at night in a place where it's like dangerous, right? So I really think that eventually we'll be more and more in charge of the choices we make, and and do despite the fear. So that helps also build confidence a lot too.
Yeah, for sure. Right. So taking all that all on board, we've got one tip.
Oh,
You normally get given 3 wishes. I'm going to give you one.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I would say, yeah. You want to give me the tip, or you ask me?
I'm going to say, if you could give one tip, men or women, whoever, what would say one tip would you give for others
Yeah,
to?
yeah. So for my tip, it's related to my belief that the day you were born, God decided that the world cannot exist without you. So do anything in your possibility to live proactive life and serve your unique mission. I really believe that when you are 120 years old, God willing for all of us, and you watch your movie, you want to be proud of your movie. And I'm telling you, you're not gonna care about how much money you left in your bank account. You're not gonna care about it. You're not taking it to your next world, okay? You would look at how much you serve, how much you gave, how much you were like fully engaged, connected with people, and served and gave them the best. So for me, I think that's empowering. Just the feeling of like, hey, I need to live life to the fullest. Otherwise, I will regret that I just leave the circumstances and let life, kind of impose is on me, right there on me, rather than I intentionally choose to be authentic and serve and leave my own meaningful fingerprint in life.
So there you go, guys. Live your own fingerprint. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, right? Because I think I have like live and live legend, right? Like because you live it, right? You leave the fingerprint, right? You're known for, you're unique, talking about unique, you're known, and brand, talking about brand, you're known for that, right? For your fingerprint, for your unique thing of how you help people and your service, right? And you leave it for your next generation too, right? You leave it to the world too. So
that's what I'm obviously, Naomi, what's the best way? Because if anyone wants to get hold of you regarding NLP, some brand awareness, confidence for speaking, how can someone get hold of you? What's the best sort of ways?
So I love direct contact with people. So first of all, since we are, we serve the whole world, right? And we have also from United Kingdom lovely people from their clients. And so the right is like if you want direct fill-in, like that you can ask any question and contact us and have conversation. I would say WhatsApp me because it's free and you can talk also on the phone there for free. So the number to WhatsApp is 443. It's USA number. Okay, 443. Then 248. 248. I don't want to confuse them. 8 0 0 1 4. Okay, so 443 248 0 0 1 4. So that would be the WhatsApp. Otherwise, I'm on LinkedIn, Naomi Bareket, and Facebook, Naomi Bareket. So you can always messenger me. You can see on the screen my, my name and find me. Now you know how I look too. So, so they can always messenger me too, right? So, and of course, so I know that you put the neurosuccessology.com. And they can also, the easier one to remember is like it's www.virtualinfluenceracademy.com. Virtualinfluenceracademy.com. Yeah.
There you go, guys. So if you are listening, you want to reach out to Naomi, she has Delta WhatsApp. I will make sure I pop it into the comments as well, just to make sure it does go on. There is the virtual influencer academy.com, obviously the website, obviously LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. That's why I have a check her out in Clubhouse, because she is there. That's where we met. And Naomi, I'm just going to say, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your thoughts, your experience, your words. Thank you for your energy.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. What you do is a blessing, right? It's blessing. It's so important. Thank you. I applaud you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm very glad to have you, meet you, connect with you, and be able to share with the world.
For sure.
Wish you a lovely weekend, and thank you, anyone, guys, who are listening. Have a fabulous weekend. Exactly.